Throwback uniforms have been a beacon of the NFL for as long as I can remember. Not only did they grace the fields of the league once upon a time, but teams have recently done an amazing job of paying homage, bringing fan favorites back, and allowing some throwbacks to become true staples in teams' wardrobes. The new pattern has sparked feelings of nostalgia and new debates of whether or not some of these throwbacks should just make a permanent return. So, we explore that in this video and ask the question, should these uniforms, these throwback uniforms, be the standard look of teams in today's NFL? Let's talk about it. It was only a few years ago that the NFL opened up Pandora's box for uniforms and allowed more than one helmet shell to be worn, a rule that was in place from 2013 to 2022. During that time, we rarely saw any throwbacks, and if we did, it was a very limited array of throwbacks and alternate looks, if any. Some teams made do with what they had by using their helmet to throw different patterns and decals on it. The Bears come to mind as one of the teams that were resourceful and served us many looks with the same helmet, like the Wolverine pattern or the plain shell, which I personally got tired of seeing. And from a viewer standpoint, all around, the aesthetic of the game got boring and played out real quick. The limitation of only allowing one shell per season closed the door on so many different looks and had teams doing tacky shit like forcing their standard helmet into looks that made no sense. That is, until Roger Goodell and the NFL finally gave teams the option to have a second helmet per season in 2022. Fast forward to today, the league has expanded to allowing all 32 teams to have 3 alternate helmets, and now we see a plethora of different looks, different helmets, finishes, shades, decals, the whole 9. It also paves the way for us to get full uniform sets, new ones, some nice and some that make you go, what the fuck? And it's this type of variation that has opened up teams' wardrobes we get to see on game days and week to week. It's the same type of variation that gives franchises flexibility and opens the eyes of fans to what was and what can be. See, a lot of fans and viewers forgot how iconic and, shall I say, beautiful some of these throwback uniforms are. Just to name a few, you got the Buccaneers Creamsicle uniforms with Bucko Bruce. You got the 90s Seattle Seahawks, the Eagles Kelly Greens, the Superchargers uniforms, and the Super Bowl era joints that were just unveiled this season. It's got us so now the whole ordeal is a thing in itself. We love when teams announce that a throwback is returning to the field. We get excited at the anticipation of seeing them in action, the hype promos for them, being able to purchase them and add to the swag in our closet. And then when we finally see them on the field, chef's kiss. Well, almost. But for the most part, we love these classic looks and even appreciate when both teams dress the part for the occasion. We've seen Seattle and Washington do it. Seattle and Tampa Bay. Buffalo went in with the standing Buffalo to match Atlanta's throwback, and each game gave us the feeling of hopping in that DeLorean and taking a trip back to the eras of when we first saw them. And with all this new technology, the updated fields with the matching field design, in these newer built stadiums, the updated material of jerseys and helmets and the accessories, not to mention seeing it all in 4K, not those grainy ass box sets we used to watch it on, we have a much better appreciation for these vintage looks. And therefore, it's only right when people want to see more of these looks. I mean, why wouldn't we want to see the orange crushed Denver Broncos uniforms every week, or the Atlanta Falcons joints? They look good and make a strong case to outclass their respective teams' current uniforms. But pump the brakes, because there's a problem with that logic. And everything that makes us love these throwback uniforms could be the very thing that turns us off or have us grow tiresome of them. I mentioned this earlier. Throwbacks are special because they tap into our nostalgia. We get to see today's players make plays in yesterday's threads. And it's a mixture of goodness that comes from that. Include these vintage looks in the schedule every week, and the throwback suddenly becomes not a throwback. And say what you want, that would get old and at some point lose its luster. But if that isn't convincing enough, then how about the fact that a lot of these throwback uniforms are dated back to the 90s, 80s, hell, some of them the 70s. And as much as I appreciated those eras, we have to keep it moving forward. The NFL is different nowadays, and teams have set a new precedent or standard for uniform designs in recent years. We've got teams opting for the monochromatic look, pants with no stripes, and the ones that do have opted for stripes that have a little bit more personality to them than the ones that we seen in the former years with those 2 and 3 stripe patterns. The helmets are updated. A lot of teams are now going for the matte look over the glossy finish. And I mentioned the technology of these jerseys and pants are made for today's designs. And say what you want, teams need to refresh their brands. Everything goes through rebrands, man. It keeps things fresh and it tells the story of the times. So having updated uniforms is a must unless you're the Raiders. It's the same reason why McDonald's doesn't have play structures outside anymore. Or the interior of movie theaters aren't whimsies like something out of Tim Burton films. Things have to evolve. And if you don't do that now, then we won't have anything to throw back to later. Who knows? The uniforms of today may gain some special appreciation in the future, similar to the Buccaneers uniforms. At one point, those creamsicle joints were considered the ugly duckling in the NFL when they were the Bucs' main look. Fast forward to today, and they are everyone's sweetheart that can do no wrong. You see how that works? Now, there's always exceptions to the rule. The Atlanta Falcons, the Jacksonville Jaguars are two teams that come to mind that need a uniform renewal badly. I'm talking about right now. And I mean, just look at these things right here. These are sorry excuses for uniforms. So when they decide to grace us with their throwbacks, we look at it like it's a no-brainer that they need to stick with it. And unlike some of these other uniforms that I listed, their throwbacks do have qualities and characteristics that will translate full-time to today's NFL. So in the end, we can all agree that throwbacks have definitely made a home for themselves in today's NFL and the foreseeable future. There's a hope and an expectation that we'll continue to get more looks in years to come. But everything isn't meant to overstay their welcome, and throwbacks are special because they only come out sparingly, which makes you want more of them and feel excited every time you see them. So let them be what they are and accept that they don't have to be worn every week to be great. As always, thank you for watching to the end. Drop your thoughts below whether you agree or disagree with me, or let us know which throwbacks are your favorite and which ones you think need to be permanent. If you enjoyed this video, which I take it you did since you're still here, then do me a favor and smash that like button one time. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a video. My name is Vinny, I'm known by many, and this is Deep in the Field, where you know we keep it real. And I'm gonna get at y'all real soon. Peace! Deep in the field, yeah, you know, deep in the field. Deep in the field, yeah, gotta keep it real. Deep in the field, so deep in the field, yeah, I gotta keep it real. Deep in the field, yeah, I gotta keep it real.